It is Friday, September 27th. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It's your girl, Denise Salcedo, joined by Robin Lundberg, and we are here to discuss tonight's episode of WWE Smackdown. Robin, what is up? How are you?
You say it's your girl, I gotta go like, it's your boy. To that effect. I mean, that's the old Jay-Z. It's your boy, Young. Anyhow, I'm doing well.
I was gonna say, I feel like I've heard that like a million times throughout my life.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah.
What Hope says can carry some weight at times.
I love it, man. Well, anyways, we're here to talk about SmackDown. And Robin, holy cow, what a week it has been. And pro wrestling in general, man. I mean, there's just so much going on. This has probably been one of the most like newsiest weeks that we've had like in a while. Of course, we had AEW Grand Slam. We had all the WWE shows. We had the Vince McMahon documentary. I mean, there was so freaking much going on. How have you been sort of handling this week?
No, it's been awesome. First of all, I didn't know if my son could handle Jey Uso losing another title match. So I was yeeting. We were yeeting. He yeeted after he scored a soccer goal the other day. So that was great. I was happy about that. I want to talk about the McMahon documentary a little bit because I watched some of that. I can't wait to watch the rest of it. But that's right up my alley. You know, like the era I grew up in, and obviously wrestling as a whole. I'm also very excited. SummerSlam is coming to MetLife Stadium, which is like 8 miles from me. So I'm going to probably wind up going to SummerSlam this August as well. I was actually at MetLife Stadium yesterday for Giants and Cowboys. So gives me like every time I go to one of these stadiums, even the ones I've been to before, I figure out the game plan better for the next time around, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, I think about this stuff all the time. So realistically, I was thinking about this too, because when I saw the announcement, Robin, and I saw that SummerSlam's going to be at MetLife, I started thinking like, damn, should I or should I not go? And here's why. So when I went to WrestleMania 35, a lot of people got stranded there. Yeah. I didn't because I had booked a bus ride back. So I was okay. But I remember because the event ended so late, like there was no trains running, like no buses, none of that stuff, right? Now I've gone to MetLife Stadium afterwards, like a couple, like I think 2 or 3 times since then for Jets games. And we always take the bus. So right after the event, we take the bus back to New York and all of that, right? However, this is the concern that I was having because I was thinking, okay, if I go to SummerSlam at MetLife, that means I'm going to stay afterwards for the press conference, which means that it's going to end super late. And what the hell? How am I going to get back to my hotel? So that's honestly what I was thinking about, like the last, like since they made the announcement. It's stupid stuff, but you got to think about it. You know how many times I've gotten stranded at places, Robin.
Well, it's a hard stadium to get to and from, too, because, they were originally going to build it on the west side of Manhattan, which would have been interesting, too, like right around where the Javits Center is, a little bit south of that. But they didn't do that, and obviously they put it out in Jersey. And, I live right there, so we parked at the American Dream Mall. It wasn't so bad. But, yeah, there's no easy transit into because the New Jersey Transit doesn't go directly there. You have to switch over and get there. And then the buses, it's a mess getting in and out. So it's not the easiest endeavor. But if we do go, you are happy to hop in our Toyota Sienna or whatever we're driving at the time, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, but then you'd have to drive me back all the way to like wherever my hotel was at when you're only 8 miles.
We'll drive you to the nearest train stop or whatever.
What if the trains aren't running anymore?
They have to be. What, Denise, these are solvable problem.
That's why I'm panicking. I was like, I don't want to get stuck at MetLife until like 4 a.m. until I can get an Uber ride or something.
You can crash here if you want. Like there's a bed in this office over here. It's for my.
Okay, Robin, you are now responsible for me. You're now responsible for my SummerSlam trip, making sure I don't get stuck at MetLife. But honestly, though, I am considering going, but I'm still not for sure yet if I'm going to go to SummerSlam. I might just go and do the media events and then come back home. So we'll figure it out. I got several months to think about it, but we got some super chats in here, and let's see what the people are saying in regards to SmackDown and pretty much everything else. Here we go. Let's get to it. I want to kick things off with this one here from Kevin Zwicker. Thank you so much to Kevin, who says, I think Kevin Owens will impact the tag match at Bad Blood. So Robin, this is really our biggest topic of today is everything that went down with Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes, Solo Sikoa, the Bloodline, all of that is really going to be our hot topic. We are just a couple of days away from Bad Blood, and this played a huge part into the show. So let's go ahead and kick it off there. So we started off with Randy Orton opening up the show, and he basically calls out Cody Rhodes because he wants to know why he's teaming up with Roman Reigns. And Cody Rhodes basically says, you know what? Roman Reigns gave me his word that he's to be trusted in this match, and I am going to trust him and take his word for him. Now, we had Kevin Owens go out there, and before he can even speak, the Bloodline goes out there, and the Bloodline kind of brought up some pretty good points because they basically said that when Randy and KO were helping out Cody Rhodes, they weren't able to get the job done against the Bloodline. And so Kevin Owens tells them, shut up, and let's do this match. Let's do a tag team match. And Cody Rhodes is thinking he's going to be part of this. But in a very, very savage, you can't sit with us kind of move, Kevin Owens basically said, no, not you, Cody. You can worry about your match at Bad Blood. This is going to be me and Randy Orton versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu at the main event of SmackDown. Now, before we get to the main event portion of it, what did you think of the opening segment and how all of that sort of went down?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's hard to talk about the opening segment without going to the main event because I think it all ties in. And I thought it was really well done, in fact. I thought it's some of the best storytelling they've done, especially with the main characters. And KO looks like he's being set up for a main event run here against Cody Rhodes coming up really soon. But they planted those seeds of discontent. We talked about it last week with KO holding that chair and thinking, like, I'm going to hit you, Cody, but he didn't. And now this week, we get that at the beginning of it. And then there were all these other little bits of storytelling, including by the announcers who said Kevin Owens has never gotten a pin over a member of the Bloodline, which I didn't realize, and then the backstage segment where KO told Cody, don't come out for the match. So not only did he tell him not to be a part of the match, but later he told him to not come out for the match. And then the way the match actually ended with one of the up there with the best, referee bump spots I've ever seen to cause confusion amongst the supposed allies.
Dude, okay, so you got to mention, we're going to talk about that right now then. It is the main event of the show. This was my favorite SmackDown main event in God knows how long. I loved this match. Dude, the action was hot like the entire time. It went 0 to 100 the second the bell rung. I do want to give a shout out to the crowd, Oklahoma City. I thought they were a phenomenal crowd, man. They were cheering for everything, booing for everything. I mean, they were really reacting to what they were supposed to react on the show. And dude, this was sick. But to kind of fast forward to the actual finish. So basically what went down was during that backstage segment that Robin mentioned, if Randy Orton told Cody, hey, keep an eye out on this match. I do not mind if you go out there and you help us out because he's smarter. He knows that the Bloodline is bound to go out there, Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. And of course, they did. They went out there. So the second they went out there, Cody Rhodes went out there. And this was kind of crazy, but it worked out really nicely. So Cody Rhodes was helping them out. He was handling business. He was doing his thing. But at one point, Kevin Owens is handling business in the ring. He's about to have this match won. The referee is counting, but Jacob Fatu throws Cody Rhodes into the referee. So it basically ends that pin. However, Kevin Owens did not see Jacob Fatu do this. He thinks Cody Rhodes broke up the pin. And so he's freaking pissed off at Cody Rhodes. He gets distracted by this. And that allows Jacob Fatu to then go around the corner, get in there and super kick Kevin Owens a bunch of times. And that is how they end up losing this match. And so by the end of it, you got Randy Orton trying to break up Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, who are having this argument. And supposedly, they give each other a hug and supposedly things are okay from the looks of it, but let's be real, they really are not. But this match was fire, Robin. How'd you like the main event?
Yeah, no, action-packed, and KO brings that, right? Like, KO always brings the action. Jacob Fatu brings a level of physicality to a match at all times. Randy Orton's just one of the best of all time in the ring. And credit where it's due, Solo Sikoa is starting to be a part of good matches. Right? So
This was great.
so I want to give him his props. But it goes back to that backstage segment I mentioned, Denise, where KO said, "Don't come out." And you said, as you mentioned, Randy Orton said, "Cool, you're good to come out." But whether or not, KO thought it was Cody who broke up the pit, regardless, he saw that his win was taken away. And the first identifying factor he saw for why was Cody Rhodes, after he explicitly told Cody to not be involved in the match. So he's pissed. It goes back to the chair feign from a week ago. And it is setting up an inevitable Kevin Owens turn on Cody Rhodes, which is obviously happening. When that remains to be seen, maybe like Kevin said, it's at Bad Blood, and that's what winds up costing Cody and Roman, because I do think for the betterment of the long-term version of this story, Fatu and Solo should go over at Bad Blood. So maybe that's the most logical way for that to happen, is those two can go over because KO turns on Cody, setting up Cody and KO and continuing the quest for Roman to get back at the Bloodline when he can't do it with Cody, who then he looks at a little sideways and say, "Oh, I thought together we'd be able to get this done. Maybe I got to come for your title sooner rather than later too."
Right. So I don't know. I mean, I know that to continue the story going, you obviously have to have them get the win at Bad Blood. It's so hard, right? Because I can't see Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns losing this. And I know we were stuck on this a couple of weeks ago when they first made the match. And even then, I still could not accept seeing either Roman or Cody Rhodes, lose this match here. But that's most likely what's bound to happen here. But I think they've done a really great job of just not making it about can they coexist, none of that crap. We haven't been getting any of that. This has been a legitimate, straightforward, can you trust Roman Reigns? And they've added to it. I mean, we talked about them doing that really great cinematic piece. And now Cody Rhodes is out there, struggling with his relationships with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens because of this. And here's the thing. I'm curious about Randy Orton and all of this, because everybody knows that we've been anticipating Cody Rhodes and Randy, right? We've been anticipating this now for a while. And so part of me wonders if this is a situation remember when we were seeing Bayley feud with Damage Control, and at the beginning it kind of made it seem like Dakota Kai was on Bayley's side, but she really wasn't. She was on Damage Control's side. I almost feel like Randy Orton is going to play a similar role in this, where he's kind of acting like the peacemaker right now, but at the end, he might end up, also turning on Cody and siding with KO. Do you feel that way?
What event was it where Randy took a real long gander?
I think it was on SmackDown. Or was it on one of the PLEs?
It was on PLE for sure. I think it was twice. I think you're right. I think it was once on SmackDown and once on a PLE, where foreshadowing at its finest. And really, Randy Orton has had nothing to do since he's come back. He's been involved in stuff, but nothing defined and important. So yes, I think he had. Why else are you even throwing him in this mix in the first place? So yeah, to me, it's the best it's been in a while. Because tonight's episode isn't the one that you go back and say, "Oh, that was the thing that blew my face off," or anything like that. But we know what's coming. And I think we're excited about what's coming. But we don't understand exactly how it's going to play out. So there is a predictable nature that gets you excited, because the parties that are going to be involved, the big time players. But there's an unpredictable nature, given we don't know. Again, we've gone over this. When is Roman going to face Cody again? When's The Rock going to come back? When are we going to get Roman and Rock? Meanwhile, is Cody going to get turned on by KO? And if he is Randy going to be involved and turn on him as well? So you have some sort of triple threat program almost going on with those guys, which would be a nice way to make it more engaging, rather than almost a AJ Styles Redux, where, okay, you had the match with KO, now KO turns on you, and you have the rematch with KO. If you throw Orton in there as well, and you get all three guys involved, all of a sudden that program feels a little bit more dynamic, I think.
Dude, I mean, I got it. And also, I want to get into the actual portion of the match too, Robin, because there were some really great moments in this. Dude, okay, when Randy Orton, he started slamming Solo Sikoa onto the commentary table, and the first one that he did, Sikoa no sells that shit. He gets right back up. And so Randy's like, nope, not on my watch. And he keeps doing it. He keeps doing it. He does it a total of 4 times until you can finally keep Jacob Fatu down for a bit. And then right away goes in and slams Solo Sikoa. I love that part. I love Kevin Owens running in and doing the senton on everybody. That was freaking cool. I'm trying to think like what else that was really great. Those were some of my favorite moments, but I could not believe, or not that I couldn't believe, but I just really, really loved that this match felt like fireworks everywhere. And even we're always sitting here talking about like, oh yeah, we can't wait to see Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes, or we can't wait to, I'm sorry, not Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu. We can't wait to see Jacob Fatu against Cody Rhodes, or Jacob Fatu against Roman Reigns or Kevin Owens. Now I'm like, dude, you got to make sure you add Randy Orton to that, because just the little interactions that they had in this matchup here, oh, they were so freaking fun. But yeah, this was, I love this match. I can't even put it over enough. I really, really loved today's match.
Well, I also think this is a good show for, wrestling fans, right? Like in the sense of the wrestling. I thought there were 3 really strong in-ring matches, that being one, obviously Naomi and Bayley being one, and Carmelo Hayes and Andrade being one. Of course, we'll get to the rest of those in more detail, but to just add to your point, it wasn't necessarily the most eventful show from top to bottom. We got the storyline aspect of it at the end of the match and at the beginning of the show, but you got 3 pretty banger matches for, regular television.
Yeah, I feel you. It was a good night. It was a good night. All right, we got Toby here. Thank you so much to Toby for sending this in. He says, Robin, how did your kids react to Jey winning? Yeet.
Well, so my son, he was actually asleep for the actual match, but I told him about it in the morning and he was so excited. And then he came home and first thing asked to watch it. So we rewatched it when he came home from school. And Ronnie, my daughter, also watched it and was very pumped for Jey Uso. I was like, Ronnie, did you like seeing Jey Uso win? And she said, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. So they were very happy. And again, he brings the Yeet celebration to other aspects of his life now. That's how he celebrates sports accomplishments and the like. So very, very happy. And I don't think he expected it, because I think he had sort of been conditioned to Jey losing in those moments and almost given up. But I thought it was a beautiful moment too. Like the tears, it felt like a genuine moment for Jey Uso. And yes, Raj has been wearing his Yeet hoodie this week as well.
He was probably thinking about it all day at school. Like, I can't wait to go home. I can't wait to go home to watch this. That's probably what he was thinking about the whole day.
Well, see, his mom was out of town too, so I was actually in charge of them in the morning and getting them to school. So that's what I woke him up with. Hey, get up. Guess what? Jey Uso won the Intercontinental Championship.
You kind of used that to hurry up and get him ready for school.
Well, because I'm up late working, Denise, so I try to get as much sleep as possible. So I gave them as little prep time as possible. They had about 13 minutes to wake up and get out the door.
That's smart. Honestly, that's smart parenting. Like, here's something to make your day. Get your ass up. No, that really is the best way to wake up. And you got some good news and a reason to like have a little pep in your step for the rest of the day. I love that. Toby, thank you so much. We got Phil Amiette here who says, I thought Triple H was going to pull his signature trademark logo, followed by something huge happening. KO's turn as the show sets to go off the air. Well, who knows? Because they still have next week. They still got they're really building up next week's show too. I mean, they got AJ Styles returning, which we'll talk more in just a second. We got the dumpster match with Chelsea and Michin. We have a really great triple threat tag team match that's happening. So there's kind of a lot. So just maybe they're waiting to get a little closer to Bad Blood. But I felt like, just given the way that I really like the creativity of the finish of this match, and it was preceded by a really fiery match. I feel like the way that they closed out SmackDown today was really good.
Yeah, me too. Because it was very uniquely done. I mean, I don't remember it being done. We've seen some version of this.
We've seen so many shitty distraction finishes. We hate distraction finishes. But when they're done like this, I'm like, oh, I see you. That was different.
It was so plausible, right?
Yes.
It was plausible and believable.
It made Jacob Fatu look really smart because if you notice, even after he handled his business, he like threw himself on the ground so the referee wouldn't see.
Yeah, I mean, everything about it was really well executed, I guess, is the way to put it. So I don't, that was huge in my mind. I mean, I think when you do something that well, you tell the story that well, yes, it may not be huge in the sense of this, I can't believe, you know, Hulk Hogan just donned the Hollywood outfit, but it was huge in the sense of, oh wow, that, you know, they really got me. I've been watching this a long time, and that was impressive.
Love it. Thank you so much to Phil for sending this in. And also thank you so much for following the Instinct Culture website. I saw you pop in today. So thank you so much. We got Sheldon Jackson here who says, good show overall tonight. I'm enjoying the Carmelo Andrade feud, but I feel for Naomi always either being a third wheel to Bianca and Jade or eating a pin. So let's get to the second portion of what Sheldon Jackson just mentioned here, because that was what followed the opening segment. And it was Bayley versus Naomi to determine who would go on to face Nia Jax. Now, we were here last week, and I had said, Robin, I want Naomi to win. I love Bayley, but we've seen Bayley get her due. We've seen Bayley get these really big moments. We've seen Bayley versus Nia Jax, and I really, really wanted to see Naomi get this moment against Nia Jax because it would have been a fresh match, and I really think that I think that because here's the thing, if we're expecting Tiffany Stratton to go in there and do the cash-in, I would have liked how it would have played out if Nia Jax defeated Naomi. Cool, fine, as long as she got the match, got her win, and then who knows, maybe we would have seen Tiffany Stratton come in at some point for that cash-in. But I really also, like Sheldon, wanted to see Naomi get her due here because I do also feel like she's constantly sort of being, you know, just placed on the side.
Though, would losing that match help her? Even if she got it, because I agree with you. I would much rather see that match. I think stylistically it makes sense. It is fresh and new. But reading the comment and hearing you talk, I kind of wonder if this helps further her character. You know, because that can now be her character story, that she is the third wheel, that she is coming up short. Because I do think they slow teased her turning on Bayley last week. So I wonder if that's part of where they're going with this. And instead of her going up against Nia Jax, losing, and then being pushed to the side, in this loss, you can sort of fester and allow that to boil a little bit underneath the surface before it eventually pops for her, versus what you can do now with Bayley in the rematch is do the Tiffany Stratton catch in. And obviously there was some tension between Tiffany and Nia Jax as well.
Right, I see what you're saying there. And here's the thing that's got me thinking, and I'm sure actually Sheldon's really good at this. So I'll give Sheldon some homework if he's there, or to anyone here on the chat. But when's the last time we saw Naomi in a singles match on a PLE? Because she came back at the Rumble, and then afterwards she had done, she was part of Money in the Bank. She was part of the Elimination Chamber. She's been in all of these other situations, but she hasn't been, and she was part of WrestleMania, of course, but that was also not a singles match. I don't even remember the last time she was on a singles PLE match. I don't even know what date it was or when it was, but I do feel like she has sort of procured enough respect and enough legitimacy to be in a spot like that. So even though you're like, oh, like, what if it helped her move forward? Just the fact that she would be in a singles match on a PLE, to me, is already moving forward the Naomi character. However, what I did like is that it looks like we're going to be getting Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton next week, because Tiffany Stratton and her did have this little backstage confrontation.
Yeah, and again, there's now multiple players involved in this, which amplifies it a little bit. And we're headed towards Tiffany and Nia going head-to-head. And I think eventually maybe you're going to get that Naomi singles match against Bayley just on a bigger showcase.
So I hope this isn't true, but we got Joe here who says 2016 No Mercy. I don't know if that's the last time she was in a singles match. Let me even check what.
Did her and Sasha bounce that long ago? When did they bounce?
So hold on. The Naomi thing was Naomi. Okay, so No Mercy 2016 was Naomi versus Alexa Bliss. I don't know if that was the last time she was on a PLE in a singles match. I have no idea. That seems like a million years ago. We'll have to circle back to that. But yes, I do like what was I saying? Oh yeah, I do want to see Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton though, especially because they're both very similar in that they could do all these crazy like acrobatics.
Yeah, well, and Naomi's just really good at those sort of spots and those sort of things.
Okay, good. Joe says he was wrong. Sorry.
Okay,
Just want to clarify. I'm like, that just feels like forever ago.
Which is one of the reasons she's probably in these other matches so often too, because she's such a good player for an Elimination Chamber or a Money in the Bank. So I can't really be mad at that. Again, I think what she's going to do is kind of feed into what we're talking about exactly now. I think that's the natural, organic way to build her character and give it a little spice, is for her to feel resentful about her place in the WWE.
All right. Well, we'll see what they do with her there, but I am looking forward to that matchup. We do let's get this one here from Corey MacArthur. Thank you so much to Corey, who says, good evening, Denise and Robin. SmackDown was good. KO Frustration and Randy the Peacemaker with Kevin Owens and Cody, Melo and Andrade, best of 7. So let's get to that match there, because everybody and their mother saw this coming, that we are going to be getting Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes in a 7th match. It just had to happen, right? Now, again, they have another banger of a match. Andrade was leading the series 3-2, but LA Knight comes in and basically causes a distraction. Andrade looked like he had this match won. He distracts Andrade, comes out there, and Carmelo is able to roll up Andrade and get the victory here. So on that part, on the piece of Andrade and Carmelo, they're tied 3-3 now. So they haven't officially announced the 7th match, but I'm pretty sure they're going to at some point. They might even have on social media already. Who knows? The match was great. I'm curious to get your thoughts on the aftermath of this, though, because since LA Knight was the one who basically caused the interruption in this, he then went and got into Andrade's face and tried to get that handshake. Now, last week when they wrestled each other, Andrade went in to shake his hand, and LA Knight was like being really weird about it. They had a backstage segment today earlier in the night where Andrade basically told him, I lost respect for you for not shaking my hand. And then he goes in, causes a distraction, and then tries to get his hand shaken. And of course, Andrade's pissed, so he's not going to shake his hand. And Robin, I'm going to start off by saying this. I'm Team Andrade here. I think LA Knight should have shaken his hand last week. It's sportsmanship, man. It's just the thing to do. And then why would he come in and try to shake his hand after he costed him the match?
Yeah, that does feel a little
it doesn't feel like LA Knight. It feels a little heelish, doesn't it? Like, am I crazy?
No, it does feel a little heelish to want to shake your hand after you cost him the match. Does it mean for sure that Andrade is winning match 7?
I don't know, because here's the thing. There's a lot more left there between Andrade and LA Knight, especially now. There's a lot more there. So I almost want to see Andrade win the best of 7 and then kind of run things back with LA Knight, or who knows, maybe there's another situation where Carmelo ends up defeating Andrade, but he defeats him with the help of LA Knight. And then that furthers the LA Knight Andrade story and then keeps Carmelo with a really cool win.
Yeah, I mean, that would be an interesting way to do it, though. Does it, like, why would he then earn a title shot, I guess, is where my thinking would go. So it makes me, one thing's for sure, we're getting another Andrade LA Knight program, right? Like, that's the clear and takeaway of what we saw during that. And I kind of like what we've seen with Carmelo and Andrade, because as I said before on the show, like, the first match was so well received. I think it sort of pushed them in that direction. And it's just, they've done a good job when working together. It's made both of them look better in the grand scheme of things, I think. And yes, because of the way LA Knight and Andrade interacted, whether Carmelo or Andrade wins, we're getting a U.S. title matchup between Andrade and LA Knight. And we won't have a handshake in that one either.
No, I don't think so. Or actually, no, between Carmelo and Andrade, I could see them at the end of the best of 7, depending on how it ends, shaking each other's hands, being like, all right, you know what? You got the best of me in this best of 7 series. If there's ever a time to shake hands, I do think it's after a best of 7 series.
No, I meant between LA Knight and Andrade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yes, that would be a good way to put both of them over after that, and maybe even give them a moment with the crowd. I think the crowd would recognize that. Do you do a double arm race?
Oh, hey, that would be kind of cool. I'm here for it. But here's the thing. I do want to say one more thing about Andrade and LA Knight. I'm liking that this is going to continue because I had been worried about like what they were going to do next with Andrade. It seemed like there wasn't a clear, obvious, like really big direction for LA Knight, because LA Knight was in a situation where there were certain people we were waiting for him to wrestle. Like, for example, Logan Paul. Everybody wanted to see that. Okay, we saw it. Now, is there like a really obvious person that we also want to see against LA Knight for the title?
Yeah.
There's not like a real obvious person. So for me, I thought, okay, great. Like this program is going to benefit both LA Knight and Andrade so much. And they also really like legitimately, they do a really good job in terms of, I really feel these two guys hate each other. I don't know what it is. They got the vibe that they legit hate each other, and I'm buying what they're trying to sell me.
Well, he wouldn't shake the man's hand. You know,
and it was so weird too, the way that it happened.
You hate LA Knight.
Look, I'm not like the biggest LA Knight fan, but I like LA Knight. I'm like not the craziest person, but it was weird. Did you not watch the video? It was weird.
No. But I remember you saying that, and then you accused him of being heelish today. So,
but he was heelish today. He costed the man the match and then wanted to shake hands with him. If I was Andrade, I would have been like, "Oh, I'm punch you in the face, bro."
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm not disagreeing. I just think it's funny whenever I can sort of sense that bubbling underneath the surface with you.
Just nodding my head. We got Franklin D. Bluth here who says Melo and Andrade are so good. They've had 6 matches and they're still bangers. This is crack for ring work wrestling nerds. It hits like crack and we love it, guys.
Oh, well, man. I mean, it's also a testament for all the discourse, and I'm not comparing company to company or anything like that, but WWE has great wrestlers too. You know, like it's just they present the product in a little bit of a different way, where we're talking about the one thing I always have to note. I think I saw from Fanatics that Cody Rhodes was top 5 in merchandise sales for all athletes or something.
Right. But I think that like, it's a really great accomplishment, but I also think there's a lot in there. And you're a sports guy, Robin. I was told that like people that how do I say this? The quality of Fanatics in terms of jerseys isn't that great. Apparently it's known to like not go out and buy jerseys from Fanatics.
But I
feel like that plays a huge role into how other athletes do.
They have the market sort of cornered though, so you don't really have too many choices. What I was trying to say is though that it speaks to the family. I mean, we started this show. Somebody wrote in, "What did your son think of Jey Uso winning?" It speaks to the family popularity and the kids' popularity, because I think that's a lot of what comes with Cody Rhodes, where he has the support of the IWC. Due to his story and his background and the AEW move and going back to WWE and finish the story and all that. But he also really appeals to kids. And I've seen that in real life, and he does a great job with that. So that's part of the WWE vast umbrella, is they're appealing to kids and families as well as wrestling fans. They're also telling stories in a certain way where the emphasis may be on the finish of the match to tell the story like we've talked about. But when it's time to go, whether it's a PLE or in matches like this, and I think I mentioned this at the top of the show, there were 3 really strong matches on this card. They've also got a super deep and talented roster that they could do that every time if they wanted to.
No, I feel you, man. And I always go back to like what you said when you went to Fanatics Fest and seeing everybody out there with all their wrestling shirts. That was kind of nice to hear, man. It's kind of cool.
Oh, dominant.
Very cool.
It was not even a discussion or a conversation. It was WrestleMania Part 2. It really was.
We got Anthony Giuliano here who says, what are your thoughts on Bianca and Jade hosting Bad Blood? So they announced that today that the tag champs are hosting Bad Blood. I don't mind it. I mean, they don't have a match. They are the champions. Of course, you'd rather see them in action, but we know we've been getting these slimmer pay-per-views, and it looks like all the spots are pretty much taken up. So I at least like the idea of them being at the show, at least doing something, right?
Yeah, I do too, but it's almost like, when is go time with them? Because it feels like they've been stuck in no man's land for a little bit here, where they had a match. Did they have a match on a pre-show recently?
I think so.
Yeah, and Bianca, was the woman in the women's division for a minute. Jade was the big acquisition for the women's division. We've talked about, when are we getting beyond, how is this storyline going to unfold? They lost the titles. They got the titles back. They haven't really been in a program of consequence. They haven't really planted the seeds of any friction or where they're going to go. So yes, it's nice. They got to give them something to do. They're too big of stars to not have something to do. But I do think we're starting to get past the point of patience with where exactly their story is going and how exactly they're going to be elevated and play into the grand scheme of the major cards coming up, because they're too good to not be involved with things.
They're cruising right now. That's what it feels like. Like, they're just cruising by. They're the champs. They're cruising by, and that's kind of about it. But we still do need to get, I agree with you. We do need to get back to that, like, to the kicker, like right where it was like really, really good. And we were so like, oh my God. I remember every week I was like, oh, there they are again. Jade and Bianca. Oh shit. Look at these girls. We kind of need to get back to that a little bit. We got Stephen Marchulli here who says, slow burn Tiffany Stratton face turn. That post-choke look was fire. Yeah, so when Nia Jax choked her, I was like, damn, she kind of caught me off guard there. But yeah, Tiffany Stratton, I wonder if they are going to turn her baby face. She felt a little bit like it, especially next to Nia. She surely did.
Yeah, does she work, baby? I don't know.
No, she's a great heel. Personally, I think she's a great heel, and I think her character calls for her being a natural heel. So it's weird for me to see her as a baby face. Like, I just think her character is so perfect to hate.
And the Money in the Bank works enough as a mechanism where it's not as if it's like an extended feud between two heels. It would be a cash. If let's assume she cashes in, we're thinking she's winning. Then maybe she's fighting somebody else, or there's multiple people involved. But yeah, I don't think a face turn makes sense for her just based on what she's best at. I'd be a little bit surprised.
I think we probably just prefer her over Nia Jax because Nia Jax is really good heel. So that's probably why. All right, we got Dan here with a very generous super chat. Thank you so much to Dan Lutza. I hope I did. I just know I messed up your last name. I'm sorry. He says, I know you were talking SmackDown, but I told you Shane is coming to AEW. LOL. And I love SmackDown. Oh my gosh. So yesterday, the news world, it was so funny because I logged in. I woke up. I logged into Twitter like at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So already, kind of late in the East Coast. But I logged in, and the first thing I see is the Young Bucks with Shane McMahon right there on my timeline. And it was so, I don't know what it is, Robin, but part of me has just seen so much crazy stuff happen in pro wrestling that I didn't even like move a muscle. I can't explain it. I saw it and I was like, yeah, that looks about right. And I just moved on with the day. I can't explain it.
Well, you already saw Tony Khan with Shane McMahon, right? That's
right.
part of the reason. It's sort of like expected. When is it going to happen? Not if it's going to happen. Shane McMahon, it's funny because the timing is interesting because I saw him on the Vince doc a bunch, right? And Shane was there. And
have you got into episode 5 yet of the
No,
Vince
I'm not.
doc?
I watched the first couple episodes, but I've seen Shane as obviously a big participant in that. And Shane O'Mac has always been a fan favorite. Here comes the money. And if you remember, even when WCW was acquired, he was opposite Vince in that. So there will clearly be a buzz if Shane McMahon is in AEW, no question. There will clearly be probably a crazy spot because he's, even though he's getting older, that's something he's been known for. And he's been around the business long enough where he can play a very compelling character on TV and can probably help guide the ship overall strategically and creatively. The one piece of pushback I would say is haven't AEW fans been all anti-McMahon for the longest time? I mean, isn't the entire genesis and origin of the company basically anti-WWE and anti-McMahon? So how is that being received, the idea of Shane McMahon coming into the fold?
See, yeah, it's complicated, and I think it depends on every person that you ask. Like for me, I'm like, I'm here to see the chaos. Are you kidding me? Like Shane McMahon in AEW, I'm gonna like laugh my ass off, especially because I had done a predictions video in 2023, and I had said that was gonna be one of my crazy predictions would be Shane McMahon in AEW, right? And then you fast forward 2 years later, and then hey, it's an actual possibility. Like this can happen, and it's weird, but at the same time, like I know obviously he's a McMahon, but he's not his father, you know? They're so different. And I had asked why I mean, we've already known for such a long time that they're very different. Shane has always felt different from Stephanie, even from Vince, from Linda. He's just always kind of felt different. And I had asked you if you had seen episode 5 of the Mr. McMahon series, because I feel like they really did that's the family episode. Like that's the one where they really focused on four McMahons and their relationships with each other, and just the way that like Vince McMahon spoke about Shane McMahon, some of the stories that he shared about Shane and their relationship. I feel like you come out of that feeling bad for Shane McMahon. Like I felt bad for Shane, where I'm like, ooh, like damn, like that's horrible. Even though you've already known these stories, hearing them again and then seeing like Vince talk about it and hearing other people talk about it, it really makes you feel bad. And so part of me is just thinking like, okay, like if he comes into AEW, like you mentioned, like the strategic side of things, obviously he's going to know a lot of that behind the scenes stuff. Yeah, I think that would be interesting to see how that would sort of correlate with AEW. I also know that AEW and WWE run very, very differently behind the scenes. So I wonder how Shane McMahon would fit into that and how he would adjust to that, because I'm sure he's used to things going down a certain way in WWE that I know are going to be different in AEW. You mentioned him, you know, obviously doing crazy stuff. He's known for that. Unfortunately, the last time we saw him at WrestleMania 39, it did not go so well. So, I mean, I feel like maybe he might want to redeem himself and do some crazy moment just so that's not like the last thing people remember. But at the same time, obviously, you know, he's an older man, so you don't want, you know, none of that, nothing to happen. But I'm here for the chaos, man. I'm here for the chaos. I'm not even going to lie. I'm excited. I'm here for the chaos.
Well, generally, a lot of people, you know, on the internet can be full of it, right? Like, because it's the thing that's going to make you pop, that's going to make you pop regardless. And Shane McMahon showing up on AEW is going to make people pop no matter what they might have said in the past. I did notice one piece of the doc, though, where it seemed like his affinity for his dad still came out. And that was early in the series when they were talking about Hogan leaving, when he left and eventually went to WCW. And he got signed his release, but he had apparently verbally agreed with Vince that he wouldn't go to the competition. And then he did. And Shane said to this day, it bothered him. Like, which I thought was an interesting little anecdote, considering, I mean, to this day is, when did Hulk Hogan go to WCW? It's been 25 years, right? Like, or something. And like
it's still hurt, and it still hits them like if it was yesterday. Yeah. No, it's so crazy. Like again, the documentary is so much that you already know, but just hearing them talk about it's obviously intriguing to hear what they have to say. So it was something. So yeah, I definitely suggest like finish it, and you know, every episode is so different, and every episode kind of has like its moment where you're like, you know. All right, so here we go. Sheldon Jackson did not fail us. See, I knew it. I knew he would search for us. He says, okay, back to what we were talking about earlier, when was Naomi's last singles PLE match. Sheldon Jackson says it was Super Showdown 2020 in Saudi, when Bayley retained the SmackDown Women's Championship, was the last time Naomi had a singles match on a PLE. You see, like it's been forever.
But I don't know. Is it that long ago? Because I also would need to, like, when was the date that Sasha and Naomi walked out?
I don't remember the date on that, but yeah, she was gone, but then she was gone, and then she came back, and you know, now she's back. She came back at the Rumble.
She has not been back for very long.
No, she came back at the Rumble, so she hasn't been back for too long.
So well, I guess it was almost 2 years. So May of 2022 is when they walked out. I just looked it up. So it was 2 years while she was there. Now, I guess that makes sense because they were the tag team champs, right? And they were, in the tag team division. So that, that run as a tag team combined with the fact that she just kind of came back and they haven't really found her footing. But she's one of those people that has the clearly identifiable talent. Like you see it immediately. Even the glow thing is cool. All that stuff is cool. But she's never quite had that like click it thing going on where she felt like the hottest thing or like her character felt like it had a true identity. And I think that's what they need to find. And to me, if I were in charge, the best way to do it is playing off this exactly. Play off, I had to walk out because we weren't getting what we wanted. I come back and I still don't get the proper shine. Even my friend, I feel like is, playing nice with me, but really wants all these and that bitterness, kind of what we saw with Drew McIntyre. Right?
Yeah,
like
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like what we saw with Drew McIntyre. And I think that could give her the edge she needs to then be in these singles programs, because you have to have people caring about it to be in those kind of matches, because the PLEs aren't 10, 12 matches long. They're 5, 6 matches unless you're talking about WrestleMania or SummerSlam.
Win the audience sympathy of that in terms of like her walking out, coming back to prove herself. So I don't know, man, but I do think just for the sake of being the freshest match possible, of course, it would have been Naomi and Nia Jax on the PLE. So either way, can't wait to see when that happens for her. But we got Anthony Giuliano here who says, have you noticed we've been getting the 4-match format on SmackDown? Yeah, you're probably right about that. I feel like sometimes you can sort of predict a little bit of what you're going to be seeing from SmackDown. And we've been getting so much of Carmelo and Andrade too, so it's almost just like become part of the show. But thank you so much for sharing this, Anthony, and I will pay more attention to this moving forward as well. Thank you so much. All right, so let's go ahead and see where we're at here of what we haven't discussed from SmackDown that we need to get into. Yeah, I want to get into AJ Styles coming back. So AJ was announced. They did a little vignette for him. He's going to be returning next week. What are we thinking here? Because I have an idea. Now, everyone can shit on my idea or not shit on my idea. I don't know. Let's see, Robin, what do you think about this? We were talking earlier about Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. I know that Carmelo Hayes and then LA Knight have been doing his thing. So has Andrade. But it feels I'm a little bit more interested in Andrade and LA Knight. So I'm like, okay, well, what's going to happen with Carmelo Hayes? What if we get an AJ Styles Carmelo Hayes program?
No, that could be good for sure. The one thing I would be a little wary of is, and maybe this is good because it leads to it not being predictable, the theme of some of this that we've been talking about, who wins that feud, right? Because Carmelo Hayes, go back to, was he the second pick?
No, he was first. He was first draft pick. Or first round draft pick. Yeah, he was a first round draft pick.
Yeah, he was picked early by SmackDown after his NXT run, which says, all right, we're pushing this guy. He's on the ascent. And he hasn't exactly had that happen for him. It's not like it's been totally squandered or anything. But
no, but the Andrade feud is the best thing. The Andrade matches is the best thing that's happened for him.
100%. 100%. Meanwhile, AJ Styles does the whole fake retirement angle, has the whole thing with Cody Rhodes. We know he's going to come right back with a hype, vignette and get ready and then lose to Carmelo Hayes.
No, definitely not. But I think that if they have a pro, I don't think it would be bad for Carmelo to lose against AJ Styles. I mean, maybe they can have a series of matches of best of 3 or something. Because can you imagine that? That would be so fun.
No, that would be good. And then I think Carmelo needs to ultimately win that, though, if they're running. So AJ would have to win the first one, for sure. And then if they're going to have a series of matches, Carmelo Hayes would either need to win 2 out of 3 or just come back and get his licks back in a second match, I think would do the best. And because AJ Styles, that's the other thing. I just think if he has this absence, he returns and he eats an L, that's a little rough. But in the grand scheme of things, he can lose as many times. He could lose 1,000,000 times. He could basically become a glorified jobber. It's never going to hurt him because of what he's done, what he's accomplished, and everything like that.
He'd be a phenomenal jobber.
Yeah, exactly.
But so, Robin, like, is there anything else, like, or who would you guys want to see, like, in terms of some some feuds for AJ Styles, especially things that are going to help some of the younger talent, really start climbing up that ladder. Because I can't, that was like my best option. Because I'm like, okay, who else is there? Baron Corbin. I like Baron Corbin. But I'm like, I don't know if the fans would be into that. I'm trying to think of who else would be. LA Knight's busy. Andrade's busy. And like, there's slim pickings.
Yeah.
Everybody else is doing something else.
They're in big programs, right? I mean, Raw has so many of those stories going on, and obviously he's coming back to SmackDown, and everybody else seems to, because no offense to Baron Corbin, that's not doing anything for me. Yeah, I don't know if there is a better option.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So we'll see what they end up doing here. Oh no!
I'm scrolling through the roster page right now, looking to see if something clicks, but I don't think there's a better.
We got some options here. I mean, Sheldon brings up Solo needs an AJ Styles feud. That could be something. I don't hate it. AJ Styles versus KO. Jeremy here. This is for next, but this is until next year. Gaming with Daniel need another AJ John Cena feud. Yeah, that'll be for next year. But for now, like, I'm telling you, Carmelo Hayes is the option. We'll see what else we got here. Anyways, we got a very, very super generous here super chat from our good friend John Taylor. John Taylor comes in and says, I was trying to figure out who Solo and Jacob Fatu remind me of, and it dawned on me tonight. For me, they have the same effect as Jay White and Juice Robinson, where Jacob is Juice and the more interesting one in the group. Okay, see, I disagree here, because I'm a big Jay White fan, John. So I disagree. I'm a big Jay White fan. So to me, Jay White, in my opinion, would be the Jacob Fatu in this scenario. So I actually see it the opposite way.
Well, I think Jacob Fatu is more interesting in a physical, intimidating standpoint. He's playing the role that Solo used to play in the Bloodline, but more effectively. I think Solo is a more interesting character than Jacob Fatu. I mean, we haven't really seen Jacob Fatu cut promos. We haven't really seen his involvement in the story plotline-wise. It's like, I'm scary looking, and I'm going to do damage to you. And that's good. It works for him. It's perfect for him, in fact. But I don't know if he's more interesting to watch, compete, and to wonder, who's behind door number, is it a super kick from Jacob Fatu followed by a splash or something? That's more interesting. But I think as a character right now, Solo is more interesting with the whole Ulufalo thing and the way he's tried to take over the presence of Tribal Chief. So I think they've helped each other.
See, and to me, Jacob Fatu's still the more interesting one. Like, even when the dude's just doing this, he's just praying. I'm like, yeah, that's interesting. Like, when I was watching, for example, today when Solo was talking and he was spewing all his, words and everything he was saying, I was staring at Jacob Fatu the whole time. And I was like, haha, I was laughing at his reactions. So it's so funny how we all kind of see this just a little bit differently. But yeah, I hope once Jay White comes back, man, I like Jay White. That's all I'm going to say. I'm a big fan of his, and he's going to get his moment. Watch.
KO had a great line, by the way, during that. Like, I think he said to Solo, no one's ever cared about anything you've said.
Who said that again?
KO.
Yeah. Okay, when he told him to shut up too. Yeah, that was good. That was good. Thank you so much for the generous super chat, John. We got Phil Amiette here who says, I know the 5-star matches are filled, but if Carmelo and Andrade don't have excuse me. Let me rephrase that. I know the 5 matches are filled, but if Carmelo and Andrade don't have their 7th match at Bad Blood, I feel a bit cheated with how the feud's been. I don't know that. I don't think they're going to do it at Bad Blood. I think they're going to do it afterwards. I think it'll be after Bad Blood.
I mean, probably at this point, we're so close, unless they're announcing it on next week's show leading up to Bad Blood, right? I mean, I think it's unlike, I think it probably happens on SmackDown.
That's what I think too. Not this coming SmackDown, but maybe afterwards.
And they've all happened on SmackDown, right?
Yeah, all of them. All of them.
It's only right for it to happen it should happen on SmackDown.
Because I was like, even if they do like a pre-show thing, which they haven't even been doing pre-show matches, but if they did, I would also kind of feel bad for them if they were on the pre-show. I don't know if I feel bad for them. I guess it's fine. Whatever they do is fine, because I kind of feel like the big thing is more so what happens afterwards and how these two guys benefit from the 7th match. But I just don't think they're going to put it on the Bad Blood card.
It's a self-contained, it's a SmackDown story. I feel like at this point, it should remain on SmackDown.
Thank you so much to Phil, though. If they did put it on Bad Blood, that'd be great. But yeah, I don't think they will. Anthony Giuliano says here, AJ Styles lost every PLE this whole year. Oh,
phenomenal jobber.
Oh no, he really is now the phenomenal jobber. Oh God, what did they do to AJ? And it's so funny because like it's okay because it's AJ Styles that everyone's like, oh, whatever, he lost, no big deal. He's great anyways. Anthony Giuliano, thank you so much for that. We got John Taylor here who says, for the record, I love Jay White, but I think Juice is the more interesting character. Like Robin says, Juice White is just more funnier. He's more dorky and like, you know, he's always doing something. Whereas Jay White's just a lot more serious. And so I think sometimes you pay attention a little bit more to Juice. But yeah, I love Jay White. I got Terrence Johnson here who says, by the way, thank you, Terrence, for this generous super chat. He says, if you guys don't remember, the reason Naomi turned heel in 2015 was because she kept getting passed over for opportunities. So maybe they could run that storyline back. See, like I had kind of remembered a little bit about that. God. And I remember when she won, where was it at? WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans, when she won on the pre-show. I think it was the little rumble thing that they did, or I forgot what it was that they did on that show. But yeah, was that, let me double check that because I'm trying to remember. I just remember she had like a really cool moment at the show here, but I'm kind of blanking. So give me a second. But regardless, they could run that back like what you said, Robin. That could be a good idea. Yeah, okay, thank you. It was the 20-woman WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal where Naomi won last by actually eliminating Bayley. So, God, this really does go far back here. But yeah, I remember that night when she won. I remember that she got a really great reaction because people wanted to see Naomi get her due.
And it makes, I mean, it's poetic then, in a sense, because if I'm being real, I did not remember that. Thank you, Terrence. And I do think it's the perfect natural arc for her right now, the best direction to take her character and the best thing for her career.
Thank you so much to Terrence. I appreciate you, man. We got John Taylor here who says, sorry, got that backwards, Robin. Larice Johnson says AJ versus Melo. See, Larice, we're on the same page here. Let's go. We're on to something. Book it, Triple H. Anthony Giuliano says, you see Rikishi mad because Jey Uso should have won on a PLE instead of Raw. We got cheated. Congrats on announcing my last name right. Woo! But no, I did not see that. But I feel like I've been seeing a lot of quotes from Rikishi where he's not that happy about quite a bit.
No, he's now reached like parody territory. Where
oh no,
yeah,
is it that bad now?
Yeah, you create a character basically like you could have Rikishi as a correspondent on the show, and the Rikishi character comes in as a correspondent and just like is upset about the way his family that is constantly promoted is being treated. Like they've been at the top of the program for 25 years straight, and Rikishi is like, "You're not doing enough."
Oh, it was such a great moment. Like to me, like the Jey Uso moment was great. I mean, come on, like your son loved it, you loved it. I think everybody here loved it. Like even though we were surprised, some people were surprised because it was Braun Breaker. But I mean, like. Dude, the moment was great. It felt good. Everything was fine.
Didn't he cry when wasn't it Gunther who beat Jey Uso on Raw also?
Yeah.
It was on Raw, right? Like, and I'm pretty sure Rikishi cried about that. So
I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, he's been crying about this for a minute. So yeah, I think it doesn't really make sense. His logic doesn't really make sense. He's been bugging out because he scared people with the Jimmy Uso thing he put out the other day too, where he put out a tweet saying like, put your prayers out for Jimmy Uso and whatever. And
is that when people were saying Jimmy was dead?
Yeah.
I saw some like weird Facebook accounts that I don't even follow, but they pop up on my page because I have wrestling content. So they feed me wrestling pages.
Yes.
And I was like, what?
The nature of his post made you think something terrible had happened to Jimmy Uso or was happening to Jimmy Uso. And I think it was Sean Ross Sapp who said he contacted the family and said there was fine. There was nothing wrong with Jimmy Uso at all. So Rikishi's kind of been crashing out of late. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there.
because I did see, like, I forgot what quote he came out with, but like a week later, Jey Uso did an interview and he was asked about what Rikishi said, and he was like, "No, everything's great," you know, like really, he didn't say anything bad or anything. He was just like, "No, it's fine. Just don't worry about it."
Has Jey Uso ever been anywhere remotely close to where he is right now? He is at the peak of his entire career and probably existence. When you talk about what he's doing, he had the thing with Roman, sure, but you always knew that was a means to an end to advance Roman Reigns, right? Like now, Jey Uso, yeah, he may not have Roman's old title, or he may not have the other title, but he's got the Intercontinental title, which we know has been used as a stepping stone title in the past. He's as over as anyone in the company, maybe not named Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley, or Cody Rhodes. And CM Punk gets thrown in that mix. And he's beloved. He had the biggest win of his career. He's got gold. He's got a catchphrase. He might have a fling with Rhea Ripley. Like, how could you possibly be complaining about where Jey Uso is right now?
No, it really is true though. Like, he's got everything that you want pretty much every wrestler to have in terms of a marketing standpoint. We're talking about the t-shirt, the chant, the entrance. I mean, it's so marketable. I don't know what else to say, but I mean, it's just one of those things. I guess when it's your family, you just feel differently about those things. But at least Jey is just kind of like, he's not echoing those same statements that Rikishi is. So, but thank you so much.
Family's been treated just fine. That family has been treated just fine in WWE. I'm gonna
go on record and say it. For a long time. We got Toby here who says, "Bring back Ricky for a few weeks and add the last name of Sparks." Starks. Oh, you want to call him Sparks though? Okay, got it. So Ricky Sparks instead of got it. Okay. He also says, "Give him a few weeks, then bring in Ricky Starks, and we never see Ricky again." Yo. Can you imagine that? We get Ricky Sparks replaced by Ricky Starks. I'm dead. That's hilarious. But I think Starks is going to be with AEW for a while still, I believe. But we'll see. I have no idea.
Losing track of which last name I'm supposed to be using.
So there was the Ricky that was brought out on Raw.
Yeah,
that Ricky. So Toby's saying bring him back and give him a last name and add Sparks. So that could be his name, Ricky Sparks. Have him do his thing, but then have him be replaced by Ricky Starks when Ricky Starks comes in.
Okay.
I don't know how I followed that. I followed exactly what Toby was picturing. I followed it.
All right, I was confused.
What's funny is they couldn't look more differently, the two Rickies. They could not look more different at all.
Ricky, you're so fun. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. All right. So yeah. We'll see. I don't know what's going to happen with Ricky Starks, but hey, bring back Ricky. I guarantee if Ricky comes back, this time he would get a pop because now everybody knows Ricky.
And then he can be Dragon Steamboat after that. And
just bring out all the Rickies. All right. Thank you so much to Toby here. We got Jay Hudson who says thoughts on AEW blocking the Lucha Brothers going to WWE. I'm disappointed that this happened. If they are unhappy, let them go. I'm angry. Well, here's the thing. Like whenever, situations. So let me, hold on one second. I want to make sure that I bring this up. I want to make sure that I address this properly here. So basically, this is from our website here. So although reports had surfaced that both Ray and Penta had signed multi-year deals with WWE, they are both under AEW contract and legally unable to negotiate with other companies right now. So Tony Khan is expected to tack injury time onto Ray Phoenix's contract, which will keep him under contract for nearly, but not quite 1 year. And this is according to Dave Meltzer, who put that today in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. So he added the injury time. And so Phoenix would not be able to negotiate with other promotions until approximately the summer of 2025. Now, as for Penta, his contract with AEW expires in about 2 months, according to Dave Meltzer. He is expected to sign with WWE when it does, and there are reportedly multiple reasons for this. Penta is said to be frustrated with how he's been used in AEW and felt disrespected when he was pulled from shows with CMLL talent on it due to its history of wrestling with AAA, since you guys know they have beef there. WWE is also said to have made him a competitive offer, which strengthens his decision to leave. And neither guy has wrestled for AEW since July. So unfortunately, it's not looking like things are working out the way that they might have hoped, but I don't know what to say. Unfortunately, Tony Khan was able to do that and did.
Well, look, I mean, that's a contract.
Right.
I mean, you can not like it, and I get why you wouldn't like it, and I want everybody to be happy and fulfilled, but that's the nature of entering a contractual agreement. You can't be too mad when you are asked to then honor the contract, because that's the point of a contract.
Yeah, I know. And it gets complicated, guys. I know it gets complicated because on one hand, you honor a contract. And then on the other hand, it's like, I get it. Sometimes you're just not happy in places. And again, when you're not being used and shit goes down and things, politics and things like that happen, it becomes unfortunate. I would love to see, I was very happy when I had heard the reports earlier that the Lucha Brothers had signed multi-year deals with WWE. I was so happy for them. And so now it kind of feels like, oh my God, this story I feel has like completely flipped. I mean, it's so different in terms of like what was being indicated a while back and what's being shared now. Yeah, totally. This story could not have changed more. It's like day and night difference in terms of what we were expecting, but that's where we're at right now. But I really hope that they, eventually get to the place where they need to be. We got John Taylor here who says Denise one time should be like pray for Reg. Wait, what? Oh, I'm gonna be like Jacob Fatu out here praying for Reg. I love that. All right, we got Anthony here who says, when are we getting a meet and greet? I want to meet you one day. Are you on Cameo? Where's your merchandise shirts? I want to support. Anthony, that is so freaking kind of you. I do have a couple of shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. However, I do want to work on some more. I'm just trying to find somebody that can help me out with that. They can maybe help out with some designs because I'm not good at that. But the best way, honestly, is just coming on here to the YouTube channel, watching the podcast, watching the videos. And that's probably the best way to support right now. But when I do bring out more stuff, I do have also a big cartel store where I sell 8x10s. The link is in the description box. That's actually there, so you can check that out. But really, right now, that's sort of the best way. It's just by supporting the YouTube content. But I seriously appreciate you. Even sending in all these super chats is a huge, huge support. So thank you so much to Anthony. All right, so I think I got all of those super chats in. And then I do want to get into, we haven't talked about Michin and Piper Niven. That was another match that we saw here tonight on SmackDown. And I'm so happy for Michin getting her win because she's going into that dumpster match with Chelsea Green. This was a fun little brief match. It was short, but I thought there was a lot of good stuff in it. I loved seeing Piper accidentally like do the cannonball onto the trash bin. So that looked absolutely brutal. The crucifix pin that we saw Michin hit on Piper was great. Michin kicking out to the Michinoku driver, phenomenal. There was a lot of good moments in this.
Yeah, you are probably the human being who's most excited about.
I am. I'm like, this is
Michin and the dumpster.
You want to know why? Because here's the thing. You got a really great combination here. You got Michin, who's really good with the weapons and street fights and hardcore matches, right? She just thrives on that. And then you got Chelsea Green, who on the her outside appearance of Chelsea Green is that she's, this very, beautiful, quirky, silly, high maintenance girl, right? But she can get down. I mean, let's not forget that this girl literally freaking fell off the top of the ladder onto a table clean at Money in the Bank. So you got two girls that I think just that bring the very best. Like, they're so different from what you would expect them to be. So for me, I'm like, oh, I'm so ready for this. Like, the ingredients in this match are great. I'm looking forward to it.
It's the opposite of a dumpster for you. It's a beautiful oasis of wrestling.
Let's go. I'm here for this dumpster match. It's the most exciting thing I've got coming up, Robin. But yeah, what'd you think of Michin and Piper?
Yeah, no, I think it was strong. And it's, one of these the subplots of the show, and they've done a nice job with that, and a nice job. The women's roster. We were just talking about AJ Styles. He comes back. Who's he going to go against? And it's like, wait, everybody else is involved. It feels like there's more women that are worthy of having something to do than ever before, and maybe even than there are on the men's side. Because we've discussed Naomi and where her character goes. Obviously, Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, Jade and Bianca. When are they going to be involved? We know Liv and Rhea, and they've been part of the hottest story of maybe the year, or right up there. And then you've got characters like Michin and Chelsea Green and Piper Niven who are getting a chance to thrive here. And it was a good win for Michin to get to set up the next match. And I think it's a good showcase for both of them ahead of the PLE. Because, those go-home shows on SmackDown are tough because, you've already kind of completed all the story and all the build. So how do you appease the crowd and the viewers and everything? You give them something that stands on its own like that.
No, you're so right on that. Like all of that on point. And yeah, I agree with you. It sort of just helps continue to level up. Like Michin had to get this win here. So she looks great. Piper looks great. I'm excited to see this dumpster match. But there you guys go. That was SmackDown here tonight. Actually, I'm sorry. We got one more super chat here. Oh no, wait, I read it already. I'm sorry. Botch. Anyways, but that is it for our show here today. If you guys came in and hung out with us, thank you so much. I know it's a Friday night, so thank you to everybody who came in here. If you haven't already, I did upload 2 brand new interviews. Go check that out, guys. I spoke with Matt and Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys. Go check that interview out. And then I also spoke with Kalani Jordan of NXT. So for those of you who are NXT fans, you might want to check that one out there. Dang. Also, this coming week, there's a lot happening. We got NXT on the CW. We got the fallout from AEW Dynamite Grand Slam happening. And then we also have Bad Blood. I will be in Atlanta for that. So I'm really excited for that. So keep an eye out for Bad Blood content here on the channel. Robin, what do you got going on?
You can go check out my YouTube channel over there. Women's Fast Break on SI that I run covering women's basketball. That's been a crazy couple days there.
Money maker, Robin.
But yeah, but even the topic matter has been bananas the last couple days. I don't even know how to describe it, but yeah, that's the best place to find me, and of course across all my socials. And I'm always announcing whenever I've got something else cooking.
Love it. We got John Taylor here who says post wrestling reporting that Swerve is going to AEW. Oh wait, hold on. Post wrestling reporting that Swerve is saying AEW is coming to Fox. So yeah, that's been something that has sort of been reported now for a bit, and people are, sort of waiting for, I guess, an official announcement. But yeah, that has sort of been floating around the rumor mill for I think since the weekend of All Out. That's when those rumors of a potential Fox deal began with AEW. So the rumors have been going on for quite a bit. So we'll see. John Taylor. And also, I may add, that was also in my predictions video. I predicted AEW to Fox, but we'll see what happens.
Well, it looks like Swerve has actually said this directly, talking to someone called Queen's Flip on YouTube. We're about to move. We're about to get on Fox. SmackDown is leaving Fox. We're taking Fox. TNT, TBS, and Fox, and we got all 3 of them things. I'd have to actually verify that's the content of the interview, but that's what is being stated on the interwebs right now.
Yeah, so if Post Wrestling shared out, I trust Post Wrestling. They're pretty spot on. So they wouldn't just put that out there if it wasn't accurate. So it's interesting though that Swerve would be the one to share that news without the company being the one to share the news. So that's interesting right there. So we'll see. We'll wait and see. Who knows if this was something that was supposed to be shared, or who knows? Maybe
no, I don't think it was supposed to be shared in the fashion that it was shared. That's not.
Does it sound like it just came out? Like just maybe just blurted it?
You know what? If it happened the way I'm envisioning it, it's like he's being interviewed by someone he doesn't realize in his head, like he's very casual about it, that anything you say anywhere can be everywhere. It doesn't matter what the outlet is or who's saying it, because Denise, and I know if we were on the receiving end of that quote, the wheels in your head would start churning the second it happened. Your eyes would light up, and you'd almost just be waiting for the rest of the interview to be over so that you could push out that content immediately.
That's interesting. So we'll see, because it just feels really random that would be announced just like that. It feels super, super random, but all right, guys, there you go. I guess in the next couple of days, we'll probably have some more additional information in regards to that. But that's about it for us here today. Thank you so much for joining us. The next stream that I will be doing here is Monday for the Raw Watch Along. So come back for that. And then, of course, Tuesday, CW stuff and everything else throughout the week. So thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.